What's up, guys? Kyle Chris back with another Dragon Ball Super video here today, bringing you guys my second place deck profile from our store championships over the weekend. And make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the deck. Hit the bell for notifications as we do post videos weekly on the channel. So now that we got that out of the way, we're going kind of into the deck and my experience. So we actually had two different store championships on Sunday. One at a shop called Sweet and Geeks. The other one was at our normal spot in Rogues. In the morning, I actually did not play King Cold. I played Hachiyak. I played Kettle Pezla, Gogeta Engine. Very, very fun. I mainly played it because I didn't want to play King Cold for 10 hours. Truthfully, I wanted to play something else. And I didn't have all my cards for Videl. And I didn't have my stuff for Helku, which are my two other favorite decks currently in the format that I like. So I couldn't play either one of those. And I didn't want to play King Cold for, 10 hours. So we played Hatch. Ended up tying my first game because the deck that I played against was one of my teammates, and I built his deck, and his deck, he basically was practicing against my Hachiyak deck for forever, so we had a good matchup against it. But the other games that I think we ended up going, I tied twice. I think I tied twice, and then I won one game, and then we left after that because we had about an hour to get up to the other shop, so I just kind of scooped. I won back all of my entry plus more with the packs that I pulled, so it doesn't really matter. But I did apparently make one person mad that I was playing Hachiyak, which is always the goal when you play something, is to make somebody mad. The reason why you get mad at somebody for playing a deck, who knows? It's a whole other thing. So, but this deck is about King Cold here. So this card here, this is just my trophy card. We don't actually play this card, but it's just a super pretty card, so we put it next to our leader. So these are the actual big cards of the deck, obviously. Field spell comes out when you play this leader. And then these two together basically essentially say, with all this text, anytime you play a field spell, once per turn you draw a card and take up to 1 life, but you do that in reverse, so you take up to 1 life then draw a card. This makes it so you can play multiple field spells, but each one of them gains unique, and you can play multiple of them a turn, so if you find a way to get rid of one, you can play another one out. And they all makes your 2-drop field spells cost 1. Now, you awaken at 4, or you are restand 2, then on this side you can draw again. You don't get to take a life now. And you can activate Battle to pop a field spell to gain 10k, so you have a super combo every turn, which is very, very good. Now, so for the deck, we'll go over the main stuff here, which is the field spells. So, and as I talk about the deck, I will kind of talk about the changes that I would make to it. So, our split here is of New Ruler and Anticipated Onslaught. We have a 4-3 split. This should have definitely been 4 of. If I play this over the next 2 store championships, I'm definitely going to bump this up to 4. This needs to be at 4. It just helps you search and play out stuff, which is a big part of the deck, especially going forward with the other cards coming out. So this card here, you take up to 1 life, search top 3 for a green card added to your hand, and bottom deck the other 2 in any order. I see a lot of people just grabbing all 3 and then searching it that way. That's a good way to bottom deck, your Overrealm or your Silver Bolts that you side in, because you can actually add those cards to your hand. You don't really have a way of searching those out, and you don't really have a lot of cards in your deck that force you to shuffle your deck. So those cards are going to be at the bottom of your deck. So with this, I generally search top 1, look at the card, grab the second one, and then I kind of decide between those 2. And if I pull a black card, I basically just bottom deck and then grab the other one. If both cards are the same, which does happen, so like you'll grab 2 berry blues or 2 field spells, I will then grab one of those and then bottom deck the other one, because if that third card is better than both of those, now I have to choose between this really good card or bottom decking 2 of the same card. And now that's if I have 4 of those, that cuts down my the percentage of me having it in my deck by half, also me drawing it and them being in my life and all that kind of stuff. So that's just kind of a little tip, is when you play this, you want to search the first one, check it out, grab the second one, generally decide between those 2, and then both of them are not very good options, then grab the third card. When you pop this using any type of ability, when you pop it, you get to draw a card and then drop a card, so it just allows you to get some filtering as well. This card, you draw a card. You don't take a life, but you draw, and then you play out a 2 or less Frieza Army, green Frieza Army card, which there are quite a bit that we do run, and there's quite a bit in the game, so you have some other options for stuff. When this card's on the board, whenever you pop a field spell other than this card, you get to KO one of your opponent's battle cards 2 or less, which makes any deck that plays small battle cards, you basically can just render them useless because you can just pop field spells to gain their effects, gain 10k, and then also kill something too. So works really, really good against black with all of the True Fighting Spirit cards, power, the power of Super Saiyan, Piccolo Jr., things like that. So, but this card's definitely going to get bumped up to 4 going forward. 2 Unstoppable Invasion. This allows you to take a life and give your leader 10k and double strike. I see this a lot for some reason, that people will give this double strike and then like the 10k, then they'll awaken because that's on their awaken turn, and then they just lose a double strike. So make sure you're swinging. Even if you do that on this side, to swing for the double strike, deal the damage, and then awaken afterwards. Second effect, you get to choose one of your opponent's unisons and take off a marker off of it. I'm thinking about siding a third one of these because of matchups that use a lot of unisons. So I think unison play is getting more and more prevalent. And because of that, being able to pop markers off of your opponent's unison is extremely powerful, especially when you can kind of consider this a triple strike towards a unison. You use this to give your leader double strike, you swing, give him double strike and then do something else, awaken, and then pop this. Or if you could, especially if you can give your leader double strike on this side, it's perfect. So you swing with this for 25k double strike, pop the field spell, take a marker off, and then now you're swinging for double strike, and you can generally remove any of the early unisons in the game. I think I may end up siding a third one just for matchups where I can actually, I need to get rid of the unison. And then 2 Terrified Realization. You draw the card, and then if you have basically 4 field spells, all of your Frieza army cards that are green get 5k during your turn. So it gives you some more pressure as well. This is probably the worst one, obviously, but we do need to have it just because it does complete our Exodia of field spells. Now we'll go into 4 copies of Berry Blue. Your Searcher searches your unison and field spells, and then you can also use its activate main to bring a field spell back. So whether you swing at your leader, pop a field spell, and then use this to play it back out, so that way you're not actually losing card advantage. Pretty powerful effect. Being able to pop New Ruler on a swing to gain 10k, drawing a card, and then using this to play New Ruler out, drawing another card off your leader, and then drawing a card off New Ruler is extremely powerful. And so you want to see Berry Blue generally turn 1. In a lot of decks, they know that you're going to try to play Berry Blue turn 1, so a lot of time I will wait. Because I want to make sure that I can get her on board. But also you can play her off of Anticipated Onslaught as well. So you can play Anticipated Onslaught, draw a card off this, draw a card off leader, and then play Berry Blue, search top 7 for a field or a unison. So you're drawing 3 cards for 1 energy. Pretty good. Next card is going to be Paragus the Sacrifice. This is a great card. I played it quite a bit, except for my red matchups. But you basically choose one of your field spells and pop it, draw a card, and then you get whatever the effect is off of that field spell. So you have this on board, and you have a New Ruler on board. You use Paragus to pop your New Ruler, and then he will draw a card, and then you get to decide which auto goes first since you're the turn player. So you can either draw and then pitch a card, or you can KO something first. It doesn't really matter, but it's a very, very interesting effect. And then you can use Berry Blue to play this back out, draw off of this, and go from there. So very, very good card. And also it's free playable off of your Anticipated Onslaught. 2 Zarbon Cosmic Elite. This was just kind of a tech choice. For one, it's free. It's playable off of Cosmic. It's free. It's a free play off of Anticipated Onslaught, of course. So you can play it off of that. Gives you a blocker if your opponent has more than 5 cards in hand. When this card dies, they have to drop a card. It also has blocker, so it just allows you to get an extra blocker on board. Also, what's nice is there's a lot of times where I found myself late game or kind of mid game where I have too many field spells in my hand. So I'll have this in the drop. I will use his activate main to play him out, to pitch a field spell, and then use Berry Blue to play that field spell out. Maybe I've already used my Vegeta ability. Maybe I just want to get another card on board. It's just a very interesting way of just cycling stuff. So it ends up working out pretty well. But making sure that he's in the drop. I'll drop him off of New Ruler, and then play him back out, and then pitch a field spell, and then use Berry Blue to play that card out. Just a cool little effect on there. But I'll probably keep these in the deck. 2 Supreme Ruler. This card underperformed Honestly, I think this may end up getting cut to the side deck, if not at all in the deck. It is nice because you can play it off Anticipated Onslaught, because the more field spells you have, his cost gets reduced to 1 for every field spell you have. So when you have him in play, he's automatically a 2. You play another one, he's a 1-drop. Your opponent has to drop a card every time, and it's not that good. Truthfully, it's not that amazing of a card. So this spot's probably open. I may end up cutting this card completely just because I'm sure I can find something else to play that's a 1 or a 2 drop. That's also a green Frieza card. For King Vegeta, this is your unison of choice. Plays out field spells for free. You also can make your opponent KO a 5 or less, which is actually very helpful. And I see a lot of people not really using this -1 effect. If you just need to clear a board, you have 2 swings plus an effect just to KO one of your opponent's cards. You can clear a board very, very easily. -3, you give this card triple strike and 5k for every field spell you have. So you're automatically making him a 20k. You have 2 more, that's 15. He makes him 30k triple strike. Very, very difficult to deal with. Obviously, this is one of your, if not your main game ender. 2 of the counter coolers. Dude, it's a good card. You need it. Make sure your opponent put whatever card that's being played 4 or less in the drop area. Then if your opponent has more than, I think it's 7 cards? 8 cards. If your opponent has more than 8 cards, they drop a card. Ends up being pretty useful. Again, also this counts as a Frieza army. So your terrified realization will actually give all of these cards here 5k. Makes this a 9, makes this a 10, makes this a 20, make this a 20, make this a 10. So pretty useful. Another Frieza army card. Keep the counters going. 4 charismatic. Not much to say. Everyone needs to run 4 charismatic. Every green deck. Just a super good card. 4 of the Royal Supremacy negates. Free play if you have more than three field spells on board, and then you also can pop up to 3 energy worth of cards. It ended up being a very good card for me. The Vegeta matchup was very difficult because I would just use this and then he would just kill my board, so I wasn't really gaining as much advantage as I really wanted to. But every other matchup, it works out super well. 4 homicidal clones. I think this is going to get dropped down to 3, maybe, and then probably putting 1 in the side deck. But this card's still super good. Like you definitely should be running somewhat, whether it's 3 or 4 of the homicidal clones. Does wonders. 4 super combos. Or we're running the 4 Paragus. One of them's not the Union series, so I put that boy in the back. He is full art though, but just not as cool. Searchable, obviously, also counts as a Frieza army, I believe. Yes, you actually can play him off of Anticipated Onslaught. Not that you would, but you could play him out and make him a 15k if you have Terrified Realization, so you have a 15k swing. But you play him, you draw 2, warp a card. Ends up being pretty valuable just to be able to get stuff out of your hand. 2 Dormant. Dormant, just extremely good. I got my 2 Dormant before the tournament and ended up working out very well. Whether it's a free play, you pitch a card, and then your opponent can only attack 1 more time, and you KO 2 cards that are 1 cost, or just a card that's 2, or just tokens as well, doesn't matter. Searchable. You also can pitch Zarbon off of it, and then you can use Zarbon. Then you can grab Zarbon, play him out, pitch a field spell, and then use Berry Blue to play it out. You have some weird, interesting synergies in the deck that you can use. 2 cells. Card's getting more and more just kind of a tech card, at least for the King Cold match. This type of deck. But paying 1 for 15k and ripping a card is still very good. I ripped Secret Rares. I have a pretty good, pull rate. Surprisingly, with this card, so I generally get the good cards. So we'll make some room here. We'll just do 2 golden Friezas. One of my game enders. Cost 3 if you have for every 2 field spells in your battle area and/or drop. So you have this guy and one other one on board. He's a 4 drop, and then you have extra cards in you have 1 more in your field, 1 more in your drop. He becomes a 3. He comes out. He's a 25k double strike deflect, so blue just can't really do anything with him. He swings for 25. When you restand him, you pop a field to gain its effect, and then you basically kill any battle card on board, ignoring barrier, and then you rip a card from your opponent's hand. So it's just a way for you to end games. A lot of time you don't even need to swing with him first. Certain matchups you don't want to swing with him at all. You just want to use his effect to pop something and then take a card out of their hand. Now you have this guy on board so that your opponent has to, you know, remove him. One Fuse Zamasu. Actually, one Fuse Zamasu and one Gohan. This was kind of my my tech choices for battle cards, for like game-ending battle cards. The 1/1 split is fine. Gohan is really good. You play him out for 2 if you're at 3 or less life. Comes in, he either KO something ignoring barrier, or you take off a marker off of your opponent's unison, which can be pretty helpful. And now he's a 25k double strike. He also has deflect and he has unique, so you only have 1 on board. And then Zamasu can basically, he is the first type of successor in the entire game. So you choose 5 energy costs for the cards that have to have more than 5k power, so you can't use Berry Blue. But the best target obviously is going to be Charismatic. So you tap 1, you sacrifice Charismatic to play this card out, and now you have a 20k indestructible, swings, then your opponent has to drop a card. You also can use it for Golden Frieza, you also can use it for Gohan. So let's say you're on a turn, you swing with Golden Frieza, restand, you swing with him again, and then you can sack him off to play this guy, and then swing with him again. So there's a lot of cool plays. We had a lot of red, so he may end up going in the side deck because red just absolutely demolishes this card. Even though this card is indestructible, this card can be removed if its power is reduced to 0 because it's being removed by a game mechanic. So it still has a way to be removed, which is unfortunate because the card is super, super powerful. Our Fighting Against Fates, dual attacker. Every deck should just be running this card. It's just super good. You should, there's really no excuse. Just buy it. Buy it now, and if you're playing in a lot of tournaments, just use it. If you're not gonna go to a lot of tournaments, don't buy it. Cards, I think it's like 25 to 40 bucks. But just get one. There's like three different prints of it, so you should be able to get one at least. Secret rare, counter boo. Won me most of my games, if not all of my games. 3-drop 40k double strike that also counters. So when you're going in with your Vegeta, your opponent cannot negate. So once you get them to 3 life, they basically have to out combo you. And then if they decide to negate, you play this, and then you swing for triple strike with that, and now you have a 40k body on board that can essentially win you the game right afterwards. So put stuff away here. Now matchups wise, before I go in the side deck, so some changes I would make to the main deck. Well, actually, we'll go over the side deck first because I think some of those cards are actually in my side deck. Some of them. So 2 rebrand. You can pitch it off of Zarbon. You can pitch it off of New Ruler, pitch it off of an attack, and then tap 2, make your opponent drop 2. Very, very good card. 2 Deborah because I know I'm not the only green player, so we just want to be able to deal with hand destruction. 1 of the new Majin Buu negates. I think I'll end up bumping this up to 2 just because this card is super good. You drop a card, and then your opponent can't attack for the turn unless they want to pitch 2 cards. So this is actually a better Supreme Ruler. I know that card you can play it out for 1. It also counts as a Frieza army, so you can do different things with it. But this being able to use this card to basically turn stop, because your opponent's not going to attack through 2. Supreme Ruler, they'll attack through 1. They'll say, you know what? I can pitch the 1. It's like the baby's minion Gohan. It's like, okay, you're bottom decking 1 card. It's fine. This is like swinging through Ready to Rumble. Like, you're not going to drop 2 cards. It's just not going to happen. So we'll probably end up putting a second Majin Buu in there at some point. 2 Chill the Assailant. 2-drop. You KO any card that's equal to or less than the cards in your opponent's hand. So Bojacks, Absolute Annihilations, really, really annoying cards they have on board with Barrier that you need to get off the board, or just a big battle card. You can use this to kill them. So it's very, very powerful. You don't ever use, like, you never play this card out, you just use it for that effect. 2 of the Silver Bullet Vegetas. It's green, so we can search it, and just very, very good to have in blue matchups. We do have some blue players in our area, so this works very, very well into that. 1 Majin Vegeta Unison. I was using it as kind of as a game ender. Also, for anyone who was going to go wide on me, I can drop this for 4, pitching a rebrand or pitching just another card, and now I can basically wipe their entire board. Now I have a 25k double strike crit on board. I can either swing at their leader or swing at a Unison to try and clear some markers. 1 Jiren. mainly because that's all I have, but also Blue Baby's still a thing, so you still need to run it. 1 Blue Impulse. This is for decks that decide to play a lot of stuff on my turn. So one of the things was basically anyone who had a wide board, and then on my turn decided to floodgate me somehow. This card becomes live. So if you have a Unison in play, this card's cost gets reduced by 1, so it becomes a 1 cost. So you play this card. If your opponent played a battle card on your turn, you choose all of your opponent's battle cards and KO them. So this allows you to anyone who plays cooler, who plays the cooler strategy, they play the Bojack strategy. You can just use this to just KO their entire board, and just saves you from having to deal with a lot of stuff. So generally, I'll try to bait out. If I have this card in my hand, I'm gonna try to bait out one of the battle card the battle card floodgates. Then use this just to wipe their board, and then I'll just pass. So okay, you wasted energy and you lost your entire board. I wasted 1 energy. So very, very good card. 2 Pretty Black Hole. This is one of my favorite green cards. Just like what it can do. It's kind of it's not a better Dormant, but the popping ability is super powerful. So not only do we have Royal Supremacy, you have Dormant, which can pop up to 2 energy worth. You have Royal Supremacy, which can pop 3. This, you choose one of your battle cards, KO it, draw a card, and then we'll also negate its skills, KO it, and then you choose cards with energy cost up to that card that you KO'd. So that way you can basically wipe boards. So you can use, I use it actually twice. So the main one obviously is Frieza, since it's a free play. Then you can use this for 1 energy. Pop this, draw a card, and then KO 5 energy worth of cards. So you can KO a 5 drop, a 4 drop, and a 1 drop. 5 1 drops. It's just completely up to you. I did also use it once to where's it at? I did use it once to pop my secret rare, which is really, really funny. So I swung with this. They negated, they did stuff, and then I had Pretty Black Hole, and then I just popped this, and I just KO'd their entire board. So the KO is 10 energy worth of cards. So it was just pretty nuts. So that's a cool card. Like I said, it's just kind of a tech choice. I wanted to make sure my sideboard was filled with a lot of defensive stuff. And last card would be being Fu, just because Fu is just a good one of to have for any sort of deck that you're running in competitive formats. Now, so my matchups were pretty I won't say easy, but they were all very different. So the first one was King Piccolo. We ended up winning 2-1. He beat me. I think he beat me game 1. Was it or game 2? The game that I won. The first game that I won, I had like the worst hand possible. We went to like turn 4 and I didn't see a field spell the entire game. The actual game that I won, I top decked a Paragus super combo off of me popping New Ruler, which ended up me winning the game. I was able to clear it with King Vegeta then. And then game 3 got close to time, and I was able to finish out with King Vegeta. Second game was against Kid-Ku, red black Kid-Ku. Unfortunately, green just has such a good matchup against that because of Dormant, Royal Supremacy. I just pop everything. So it's kind of a Goku. You probably have seen a battle or two on the channel. It's a Kid-Ku skillless rush deck, piloted by a very good player. Just the deck loses to a lot of really strong green cards, so there's not really much you can do. My third matchup was a mirror matchup, and I think what won it for me was a lot of the bigger cards that I had. So the Boo counter. I don't think I played Zamasu at all. Don't even think I played Gohan. I think I just won with my Unison every time. But the deck was definitely a very skill-intensive deck matchup because we both have a lot of the same tools. So we're just basically seeing who can pop the most cards. And that video actually will probably be on the channel because that one was on top table. So that was a very cool game. And then the final round was against Leonard in the Prince Vegeta red deck. And both games were very, very close. I think the second game, neither one of us had any cards in hand. I think he top decked a New Ruler and killed me. But I think I played as perfect as I possibly could. There was one mistake that I made where I had his Unison gone. I was very close to removing his Unison, and I played a New Ruler off Berry Blue, and I actually saw a Unstoppable Invasion, which is the card that I was actually going to play. But I thought I had one in my drop area when I looked, but the problem was I saw the foiling end of this, and it made me think that I actually had the card. So I basically all I saw was that corner, and since these two look almost identical, just a slightly different shade, I thought this was the Unstoppable Invasion, and I just didn't look at the card all the way, and I was like, yeah, I'll just grab New Ruler. And then I looked at my drop, and I'm like, oh, I don't have an Unstoppable Invasion. So that I would have played it, swung, and then popped the field to then take away his Unison. But because I wasn't able to do that, I just kind of went downhill from there. Just kept hitting me with New Ruler after New Ruler after New Ruler. So very, very difficult matchup. But definitely learned a lot. Now, my first time ever actually reading the cards. So I think going into the next tournament, if we end up playing that again, I think we'll be a little bit better off. So some tech cards. Definitely going to add, as I said before, probably going to add a second one of these just because I do think this card is very, very good. This card here is absolutely nuts, and I think every green deck, if you're